So this is, this step, you need to be aware how to load the data from Excel file into SQL. So see, most of the cases, right, small organizations and any department specific small reporting request, you may receive a data in the form of Excel file. That Excel file, with that Excel file, you create the report in either an Excel file or Power BI or Tableau, those kind of data visualization tool. But they don't prefer you to use the Excel file to create the reports directly. So in that kind of situation, you need to load the Excel file data into SQL Server. Okay. So this is one of the common thing that most of us do. Or for example, they give you an Excel file and they want you to load into SQL Server because you want to do some kind of SQL like join everything. Oh, not able to hear me? Okay. So I'm audible, right? Yes, right. 1 second. Yeah, most of you see if any specific person is not able to hear, you need to log back. Okay, log in back, and so that is the thing you need to do it. Okay, otherwise you will not be able. Or you need to check your audio system. Okay, fine. So we will continue now. Okay. So in that case, why do they need to load the data, the Excel data into SQL Server? Because they don't so you don't so there is no point in storing the Excel file data in your laptop, right? So they want these data to be loaded into centralized place. The SQL Server, they create a database. Each location people, when they load the Excel file data into the SQL Server, so you can get a unified view of the data, right? So for that purpose, we will be using we'll be loading the data from Excel sheet to into a Power in your SQL Server. Okay. Okay, fine. Great. Sorry, guys, there is a late, most of you got confused, right? Because I was in a hurry and got. Okay, so now we will see how we can load this Excel file data into SQL Server. What I'll do is I'll just open the SSMS. Sorry, SSMS. It will take for a while to launch that SSMS. See, what you need to do is you need to press the window key in your laptop and SSMS. You need to type SSMS. What is SSMS? You can see the acronym for this one, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, using which we are going to write the SQL queries. We can load we can create a table. We can insert the data into a database table. We can load the data from Excel file into SQL Server database. Okay. You might be asking this question, do I need to install SQL Server and then do I need to, yes, as I discussed and also I believe most of you watched my installation videos at least, right? First thing is you need to install the SQL Server and then you need to install Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so installations are very simple step, but you need to strictly follow whatever the instructions I have given in my video. Okay. So what I will do is I will just see once you have installed the software successfully, and to test it, if you type the SSMS in the start button, right, you will find an icon something like this. And if you hit to open, it will get open. And those of you are facing the issue still unable to install the software because of some issues or errors, right? You just get in touch with me sometime tomorrow, right? Weekdays during lunchtime, you can ping me, okay? But before you call me, you just send me the screenshot with the error. By that screenshot should capture the error and error message, okay? Look here, it took for a while, and then the SSMS got launched, SQL Server Management Studio. So here, as soon as you launch this tool, you can see the server type, server name, and authentication. Okay, so all these fields got filled with the values already. Okay, so you don't have to type anything. Okay, don't make any changes. Simply hit connect. So here the server type is database engine. Okay, don't do anything here. Okay, don't do anything here. Simply hit connect button. Okay, the server name and authentication, everything is same. Okay, you don't have to change these values. Hit connect button. So now it got connected to the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. 1 second, everyone. I'm getting. Okay, you want the download, right? Okay, what I will do is I will just, yeah, most of you have not yet installed, right? See, download, we can have the next session, yeah. Download probably we'll discuss tomorrow, okay? I did not start with the download. Okay, the download will have a separate session. If you have not yet done, watch my video. Have you tried with watching my video, right? The installation. Have you guys tried installing the software? If not, we'll discuss tomorrow night. Okay. So today we will continue with how you need to go ahead and connect to the database. Okay, because most of them they installed it. Okay, and those of you, and again 50% of them they don't have laptop, and it to the arrange. You just watch in today's session. Tomorrow, right? Those of you are yet to install, don't have laptop. Probably you can join little late because you don't have laptop, and you can watch my video and then get it installed. A little later if you join, but because I'll start the installation everything from the scratch, right? It will be boring because you don't have laptop. But if you have laptop, you can try the installation along with me. So what we will do here is, see now I connect to the SQL Server Management Studio, and here you will find the icon databases here. Can you all see the databases? Likewise, right? You can see all these folders here. And here, when you click on the plus sign next to the databases, you will find system databases. Okay, that is related to, you see system databases. You don't have to do anything here. Okay, but if you click on the plus icon next to that, you will find these four databases. These four databases are related to SQL Server. We don't have to do anything here. Okay, I just minimize this. And rest of them, you can see a lot of databases. These are the databases I created for various batches. Now I will show you how to create the database first. Okay. What is a database? Database kind of a container. For example, you have an Excel file available on laptop. Somebody knows your login credentials, your laptop. They can connect to your laptop, and so they may have access to your Excel file, right? If they open your Excel file, or if they go to folder or somewhere, they can find it. If you load the Excel data into SQL Server database, and if you remove the Excel file, the data is available in a databases. Okay, so it is something like this. You have the Windows operating system, right? You have the Windows operating system or Mac operating system. On top of that, you are installing the SQL Server. An SQL server, you can create any number of databases. So database 1, database 2, database and n number of databases we can create it. And each database we can create n number of tables. Table 1, table 2, etc. up to table n. Okay. And not only tables and various other objects like views, views, index. These are the objects. So usually, right, most of them are familiar with table. So table is like it will have the rows and columns in it. Okay, you store the data in the form of rows and columns. Like in the Excel, how you see the data. Same way, once you save the data in a table and when you retrieve it, you will see the same way. Okay, but the advantage of using any RDBMS software like Microsoft SQL Server and all, right? So you can join multiple files. Okay, you can join multiple files using the left join, right join, and left outer join. Sorry, the right or full outer join, left anti-join, right anti-join. Likewise, you can use different types of joins based on your requirement. You can choose what kind of join. But in the case of the data is an Excel file, if you want to combine multiple files into a single file, you will find you will have an hard time. Okay, joining multiple files, interpreting the data, everything, it is a problem. So in that case, right, the storing the data in SQL Server, you can use all these all these different kind of joins to join those tables. Okay, so look here, I'll start with explain you how to create the database. Database is kind of a container. Okay, so here we store all that. So your database is sitting on top of your operating system. Okay, I just keep the cursor on top of it, right click on it, click on new database, click on new database. Yeah, if you have any issues with your mobile phone, probably you can try with other mobile phone. So right click on databases. You can see database here. Database name, you can specify anything. Okay, for example, you have something like retail analytics, or let's say you have something like retail data warehouse. Retail data warehouse. I'm going to hit OK. That's all. It's very simple. I'll just show you one more time because I could see that few of you joined little later. Look here. So you need to keep the cursor on top of the databases. One second here. You right click on it, and then you will find the new database. Just click on it. It will open up a window. This is where you need to specify your database name. Okay. So retail data warehousing. Retail data warehousing and hit OK button. And a new database will get created with this name, retail data warehousing. Okay. See, data warehousing is a concept. It is mainly, see, the database we created mainly to perform analytics. That is called data warehousing. Okay. So now we have created the database here by the name of retail data. And also I create another database. So I don't need this database, right? I just right click on it. And if you want to rename it, you can rename it. Or if you don't want this database, you can delete it. But remember one thing very clearly. None of us have access to creating the databases, even in the development environment in the IT company. Okay. So it is very mission critical. No one will have access to the data warehouse. Okay. Or databases, direct access. Okay. Even if you have access, you will have only the read-only access for the specific tables that are part of your database. Okay. And here what I do is in this database, we have created a new database, retail database. I'm going to load the Excel file data into this one. So what I will do is I will just right click on it. Listen very carefully. I selected the database which I created it. just right click on it, and then here you will find these tasks, right? And then here I'm going to use the import data, okay? Because mine is an Excel file, it's not a flat file. I'm going to hit the import data. But even though you don't have access or privileges once you join a company to create a database, or rename a database, but in your system to practice it, you are the one supposed to create the database. So hence, watch carefully. Okay. So look here, the moment when I right clicked on it. So I just show you one more time because all of you, joined little later, one after the other, right? So you need to select the tasks here. What task are we going to perform? Import data. So it will open up dialog box. And here, these are wizard, okay? It opens a wizard. And if you click on the drop down here, and if you scroll down here, you'll find SQL Server Native Client 1.0. And the server name, you need to click on the drop down here. And the server name is this one, localhost SQL Express 02. 02, okay, well, let me do one thing. I'll just move this. 03, SQL Express 03. This is the one is your data server name, okay? Localhost. But it will display by default. I installed it multiple times. I reinstalled it, okay? And hence it takes time to load it. Let us see what happens. Okay, it took time. Okay, now I'm going to click on the drop down. Here I don't see the database name. What I will do is I'll just right click on it. And yeah, here we can right click on it, and then I'll just do click one more time. I just copy this here, okay? So just to copy the server name, I just did the connect, okay? Don't connect again. Click on cancel. And here I just I just go here one more time, sorry. Tasks, and then click on the drop down, and here you will find the SQL Server Native Client. Here I'm going to paste it. And in the database is default, not the default database. You click on this. See, once I specify the SQL Server name, it shows the table name. Okay, what table database I created? A retail data warehousing. Can you all see it here? This is the one I created, isn't it? So this is the retail data. This is the one I need to specify. I need to click on this drop down. Once you click on the drop down, you will find all the databases that that have been created in this server. This is the server name. Server name, you can get it from here. Got it? So you need to tell which server and which database. Something like somebody has to deliver a letter to your house. They should be knowing which street, which door number you live, right? So something, this is kind of a street name, and this is what, door number, something like that, okay? I'm going to hit next. Here, this is very important. SQL Server Native Client 11.0. You need to click on the drop down. At the end, you will find this one. You select the data source. Okay, SQL Native Client. Sorry, not the SQL Server Native Client. And here you need to select. See, what is your source file? Microsoft Excel, right? Sorry, extremely sorry, guys. So sorry for the confusion. 1 second. See here. Okay, what I will do is I will just browse this one Excel file path. Click on the browse. And here you need to choose your file, okay? And here I'm going to select dim location. And I'll just say dim location, XLS is there, or dim customer. Yeah, dim customer, okay? Customer.xls file, I'm going to hit open. So here I'm using XLS extension. It's an older one. And automatically, as soon as you select the file, Excel file, you will find the Excel version. Which version of this Excel is, okay? 97 2003. It is not the latest one. Latest one, you will find 16 and all. Okay, depends on the version you have installed in your laptop. By the way, right, when you use XLS, automatically will pick up, but choose XLS file, okay? Don't use XLSX, okay? And I'm going to hit next. You have mentioned about the source. Next, you need to tell the destination where that Excel file data needs to get loaded. You need to click on the drop down. Now only you need to select SQL Server Native Client 11.0, and all the things are same. Okay, you need to specify the SQL Server name and which database you want to load that Excel file. Okay, this is that is what you need to specify it here. And I'm going to hit next button and copy data from one or more tables or views. Right. I just select the next one, and I'm going to sheet $1. Look here. And when you hit this preview button, you will find what data are there in the Excel file. So these are the columns and rows are there. It's a very small file. Okay. I'm going to hit OK. So now I made sure that whether this customer.xls file has some data in it. In this Excel file, I have the only one sheet is there. So in that sheet, these are the data is there. And I'm going to hit edit mappings. Here you can see the source Excel file columns, right? I just opened that file here for you to show that I have to compare both. Okay. Dim customer.xls. Okay. I just open it. Second, I think my license got expired here. Let me get okay. Cannot be access this file. Maybe correct location that is not respond. Anyhow, you can see the data for this file here itself. Okay, when you open the Excel file, but in your system, it should work. Okay, and because I think I have some license issues. But here itself, we can see that what data. See, if that had the data got corrupted, you will not see the file got corrupted. We cannot see the data. File has not been corrupted. That error was due to licensing issues. Okay. Select star from sheet $1. Okay, and edit mappings. When you click on it, you'll find your source and destination columns here. What is source? What is destination? Source is my Excel file columns. Destination is the table columns. Okay, so if you wanted to change the destination column name, you can go and select it here. Okay, so here customer ID is there. What I will do is typically in the dimension table, they use the naming convention as key. Okay, customer key, the key columns, primary key columns. Okay, key. So in the Excel file, the column name is custody, but you create in the SQL server, you create a column by the name of custody instead of custody. Okay, and then you load the data there. Okay, so rest of the columns, I don't want to change it. Let it be there. And if you click on drop down, you will have something like ignore. If you say select ignore, it will not create a column for gender in this SQL Server table. See, sometimes what will happen in your Excel file, you have 100 columns will be there. All the 100 columns, you don't need it for your analysis. Let's assume that way, okay? So in that case, what you do is you just, here it will show all the Excel file columns. Here in this destination, you can say, for example, I don't need a gender column to be created as part of my table. You can give ignore. It will not get created, okay? Anyhow, for the sake of demo, I'm going to leave it as it is. And this is the data type for, these columns. So n varchar, okay, this is the data type. It's a text data type, okay, nullable. It can have null values in it. What is the size of each column, the width, okay? You can change the width of this each column also, okay? By giving the appropriate size for each column, you can save a lot of storage space, okay? That is so that is the headache of the database administrator, admin people. They are the ones supposed to create the table for it, but you need to create the table creation script and give it to them. They will add some additional clauses for the tables that you created. Okay, they will specify the width, everything. Okay, so look here, customer ID column is varchar data type, and the width is 255. For example, if you don't need customer key, why do I need 255? All I need is just let's 18 character, that is sufficient. You select it. So using edit mappings, you can define the target table column names. Your target table column names need not to be same as your Excel file column names. You can customize it here. And even the width, everything you can change. By default, the SQL server assigns the, some size, default size 255 or something for text column, okay? Or n varchar is nothing but text column, okay? So I'm going to hit OK now, that's all, okay? And next, and then click on next. You will find some, click on finish, close your eyes and click on finish and wait for some time. And here you can see the status here, okay? And 7 rows got transferred. Very good, okay? So we have seen 7 rows were there. 7 rows got loaded into my SQL server. I'm going to click on close. And now I just go to my database. This is my database, okay? I'm going to click on the plus sign next to the retail data warehousing. It will get expanded. I'm going to select the tables folder and I'm going to click on the plus sign and you will see the table name here. So DBO. So here the table name is not dim customer. We have loaded the dim customer. In practice, we call dim customer as customer dimension. That is the naming convention. Typically, we follow in most of the data warehousing projects. Okay. So in that Excel file, there is we have only one sheet. Hence, it put sheet $1 instead of specifying the Excel file name. To rename it, it's very simple. Right click on it, rename it here. Okay, I just say dim customer dimension table. Look here, if I go here, you will find dim customer and the same thing you will find here also, right? So we have loaded the data. To check that what columns are there here, you click on the plus sign. You will find so many things are there. Click on the columns and customer key, first name, last name, gender. Now, how do I view the data? So I could see that the Excel file data got loaded here with sheet $1. I renamed it as dim customer. I could see all the columns that belong to this table. I'm going to right click on this. Now I want to see the data. Here you will see select top 1000 rows. Feed this on the right side. You will find a SQL query got generated automatically. Look here, did I write any SQL query? No, right? Just point and click. So just select the table name here. Okay, oh, sorry, I just select it gently. Okay, and then you need to keep the cursor and then right click on it, select top 1000 rows. If you click on it, a query will get generated automatically. Okay, don't think about anything else. Just literally watch what I teach you. Okay, otherwise you will get confused. We have a separate session for SQL server. That time we will go step by step in a very slow pace. I will cover comprehensively many things. Look here, this is the query got generated automatically, and we can see this one. So if you have more than 1000, simple common sense. Okay, you don't have to use this one. Select star. You can use select star. See all the things we'll see. Like I said, right? We will discuss it once I start the SQL Server topic. Select star. If you use select star, all the rows that belong to this table will get selected. There is a question here. Here top 1000. So that means select the first 1000 records from this data. So in this case, we have only 7 records are there. If you have 2000 records, or let's you have 1500, 1200 records are there. If you use 1000, the first 1000 records will get displayed. Okay, how to with the last 1000 records, that and all we'll see. That's little bit advanced one that we will go step by step. Okay, And if you want to see all the data, right, you can give star. See, in this case, hardly we have 7 records, then top 1000 doesn't make any sense. But this is the default option that is available in SQL Server. You all just click on it, it'll give you everything. Okay, this is the number of records. And also on the right side, you can see how many number of records are there here. Sorry, not here. 7 rows. Can you see that? So in this case, it is fine. You can just by eyeballing this, you can make out. Hey, 7 records are there and 4 columns are fine. You don't have to see it here. If you have 1000 records or above 500 records, if you want to understand quickly how many number of records, you need to look at the right bottom corner here. Okay. So that you will get to know how many number of records are, how many records are there. Okay. So hope you understood how to load an Excel file data into SQL Server. After you loading the data from your Excel into SQL Server, what are the steps that you needed to carry it out? Okay. So I will just load one more table so that since you're all new one to this one, you will be able to understand very well. So watch carefully. Select the database. So you need to select the database first. So right. So which database you want to store it? Right. So for that, you need to say I want to use this database to store my another table or load my other tables data. I just right click on it and here tasks. What task I am going to perform? At the bottom you'll see import data. Okay, that's all. So you need to keep just keep the cursor here. In this one, this menu will get open, and at the bottom, right, just last but one, you will find the import data. I just click on it. So here we are loading from Excel file. The path is you need to tell source and target. So from our source is Excel for the time being. Okay, sales fact dot XLS file. I select the file. I'm going to hit open. Look here, automatically detected what version of this Excel file is all about. Everything it is taken care. Now we have informed the SQL Server. Hey, I'm going to use an Excel file to load the data. Next, it asks me, okay, where do you want it to load? I'm going to click on the drop down. I scroll down at the bottom. I can see SQL client. I wanted to load that the salesfact.xls file into SQL Server. For that, this is the driver. You need to choose it, and this is your SQL Server name, and this is the database. You have lot of databases are there, but we are supposed to load the table into this database. Let's assume that this is the database given by our customer. Okay. Fine. And now we have defined the source and destination. My source is Excel and destination is SQL Server. Okay. And database also I mentioned. I'm going to hit next. And simply I'm going to hit next, next, next. But before once you reach to this page, right, you just select this first sheet here. So NC sales, this is the sheet name. Okay. And click on the preview and check, is this the intended data that you want to load it? And if you see here, all the columns are available, but 3 columns are, blank values are there, right? So in 3, you have 12, 13, 14, these 3 columns, we don't see any data. Fine, anyhow, we will go and check the second sheet. So in that Excel sheet, there are 2 sheets are there. Now I'm going to unselect this one and I'm going to preview the second sheet. The second sheet, I can see the same thing, okay? Hence, what I do is I don't want to use this one, I just want to use only one sheet. And I'm going to preview this again. School preview something like sample data, not the entire table data or the file data, and hit mappings, edit mappings. Here it is not recorded. You don't have to come to edit mapping, but anyhow, on the safer side, you just come and look at it. Okay. Look here, everything is fine. The product ID, I'm going to rename it as a product key. This is my Excel file column names. But here I'm trying to customize this one. Okay. Instead of product ID, make it product key. All the key columns supposed to be key. What is a key column? Key columns are something like a primary key column. Don't worry, we'll discuss this later. Okay. Customer ID, location key, order number, everything. So here the F12, F13, F14, we have already seen, this doesn't make any sense. Okay. And also these three columns do not have any data. So why should I load it? I just click on it here, drop down here, ignore. I'm going to say ignore. I'm going to click on the drop down, ignore. Okay. That's all. I'm done with it. And product key size also I'm going to change it. Product key will not go beyond, at least, 12 or something like that. If it is a large order, so let's say your company is going to grow like anything, better you can keep 18. So 255 too much. Hit OK. That's all. And hit the next button. Close your eyes. Next. Finish. 92 rows got transferred successfully. Okay. I'm going to hit close. So what we did so far, I have loaded an Excel file called salespack.xls into my SQL Server database by the name of retail data warehousing. In that, I wanted to load that table, okay, that files data, okay. I'm going to hit close now. Now, if you see here, right, the table section, you will not find the file which you loaded a while back, right? So you need to, don't panic, click on the refresh button. And then expand the tables folder. Now you will find this one, right? So you need to make sure that you are clicking on the refresh icon once you are done with loading the Excel file data into your SQL Server. And then click on refresh. Select the database and then table section, you expand it and then refresh it. It will, once you refresh it, it will be visible here. Right click on it and rename it as sales fact. So here I did not give dim sales fact. It's a transaction table. Hence, I have given the name as fact, sales fact. Okay. And this is not a transaction table. It is a kind of a lookup table. This table will have all the customer information, the basic customer information. What is the customer key and what is their first name, last name, gender, demographic details like what is the, which city they live, how many kids they have, whether they're married or single, and location, all the things it will be there. Okay. City name, everything. Okay. And this is just a lookup table, but whereas here the sales fact, it has all the transactions made by each and every customers on a daily basis also. Okay. Hence, we need to mention it as a fact. The file name should end with fact. The table name should end with fact. Sometimes, right, they say fact sales or sales fact or fact sales. When you find a table name with this name, you can enter this for transaction table or it's a fact table. Okay. And here, if I want to see the data, how can I see that? Or if I want to see what all the columns are there in this recently loaded Excel file, which is nothing but the sales factor, right? So you just beneath that, you can see columns here. Click on the plus icon, it will expand. You'll get expanded. You can see all the columns that belongs to the sales fact table. Okay, I have seen the table name and the column names, and I want to see the data. Right click on it by pointing the cursor on top of the table name. Hit the select top 1000. Look here, the query got generated. Cool, right? You don't have to write this many lines of code. The query got. Now the question is why it shows the query here. It can show just the data alone. Why do I need to see the query? Because you if you want to exclude some columns, you can exclude it. For example, you don't want to see the product key, customer ID and all, right? You can exclude it. Okay, and then certain columns I'm not interested. Okay, and you can exclude whichever column you don't need it. And then you select everything. Look here, you select everything after you make changes to your SQL query. And then click on the execute icon. Can you all see that execute icon here? When you click on the execute icon now, there is a issue here, right? So comma here, you need to, while removing a column or so, right? Make sure that there is no syntax error. If you find any red color thing like this, can you see that a small red color dot is there, right? That means there is a syntax error. You need to fix it. What is this syntax error here? So followed by the top 1000, we have mentioned comma, right? So top 1000 is a top is a function, right? So inside this, you can specify the number of records. And followed by that, you need to specify the column, not the comma. After specifying the column only, you need to specify the comma. Okay, each column should be separated by commas, but the first column don't specify comma. Okay, just before the first column, you don't specify the comma. Okay, now I just selected. I'm going to hit the execute button. Now I can see the data for only for these columns. I have excluded the columns that I don't need it for my analysis. But still, the data will be there in your table. But for view only, you are excluded those columns. Okay. If you remove top two columns here, that doesn't mean those two columns will get deleted. Still, that will be there. Okay. Here you just removing few columns to view only specific columns data. Okay. These are the basic things you should be knowing it. On the right side bottom, you can see corner, right? 92 rows. How many rows are there? How many rows we have seen? 92 rows got transferred. That is what we have seen it in the import wizard. So now we just checked it here. Yes, 92 rows got loaded here. Fine. Very good. So now you understood how to load the data from Excel file into the SQL Server database. Now what we will do is we'll go to the Power BI desktop and how to connect to this SQL Server to pull the data from this one into my Power BI desktop. Okay. I just try one more thing. I just wonder why one more file is missing. 1 second. I'll just okay. One more quick tip. Okay. For example, here I have dim location. So dim location, I can see XLS file. So I guess all of you must have, you might have downloaded all the files which we shared it, right? Once you download the file, whatever the files that you want to practice it by watching my video, what you do is make sure that you just open the .xlx file, especially if you want to load this file data into SQL Server. You just open this file. Here we can see the location key, everything. I just close it. I think, yeah, file. I just save as, click on browse, and I just say, here I'm going to remove the X, last X, okay? Dim location dot XLSX, I'm going to say, because with XLSX extension, it is causing problem. Better you can save it as XLS. See, but here what happened? XLS dot XLSX, right? So you just close it. Select the, right click on this file, which you modify. Okay, sorry, this is the one, right? Yeah, I right click on this file, rename it. And here you need to, rename it a .xls file. Okay, are you sure you want to change it? Yes. Dim location. I just changed from XLSX. The extension is XLSX. I changed to XLS. Okay. And if I go here, so I'm going to load one more Excel file. Okay. So which database you want to load that Excel file? Just keep the cursor on top of it. Don't even click on this. Okay. Right click on it. Tasks. And then you just scroll down, import data. Your source is Excel. And you need to click on the browse, and here you just select dim location. I can see .xlx. I don't need that one. I need the other version. But here, what I will do is I'll just type directly dim location .xls. Directly I'll press enter. It'll get. Since this file is already there, and we are not able to locate where exactly is there, right? You just type the file name upfront and then .xls and press enter. It'll get loaded here. And hit the next button now. Okay, now it says some error, right? So enter table is not the expected format. There is a problem here. Okay, 1 second. I just open the. Okay. What you do is dim location dot xlsx. Here itself there is an option. Instead of overwriting it, click on the file, save as, click on browse, and here you will find an option here. Okay, here do it this way, okay? Because if you rename it, still it is causing problem. You need to choose the older version of the Excel software, and then You don't have to do anything here. Okay, click on save. Since I already created that thing, right? Overwrite it and continue. That's all. You just close this file. And here, so which database I want to load that Excel file? This is the one. Right click on it and tasks. And then bottom, you click on the import data. And here, in this specify the source is an Excel file. And the browse, I just say here the dim location. One second, dim location. So don't worry. So directly go here, dim location dot xlsx and press enter. It will get loaded here. Okay, if this file is not there, it will throw an error. Okay, since in our case it is there, we just instead of searching it, right, I know the file name, I just typed it upfront. Okay, now we need to tell the destination. It is an SQL server. I just scroll down here, SQL native client, and the server name, data warehouse, everything is already there. And I'm going to click next, and here itself you can, one second, let me just see if I can. Yeah, here you cannot destination host. Okay, here I just do one thing. I just say the sorry, dim location. Here itself I'll be changing the table name. Okay, instead of renaming it there, here, yeah, dim location, but it will put it in a square bracket. Don't worry. Okay, and see, this is your Excel file. See, in the Excel file, if you open the Excel file, you will find a sheet 1, right? In the first sheet, you'll find all the data. So what I did, whatever the contents are there in the sheet 1, you load it with the name of dim location into my SQL server. The DBO stands for database owner. That you don't worry at this moment. Okay, I'm going to edit mappings, and here location key, it's too much for location key. I just say let's 18. That's all. That's enough. That is all too much. I'm going to hit OK now. What is that? Oh, she has a question. Okay. So edit mappings. You want to go here, huh? Yeah. So if you click on edit SQL, you can see the table creation script here itself. Did I create any script? Nothing, right? Behind the scene, this wizard creates the table definition, right? It generates the query automatically, table creation query, okay? And then I'm going to hit OK. This is just for our reference, okay? And I'm going to hit OK and next, finish. We have loaded the dim location table with 8 rows. Cool. Close it. Like I said, you will not find the table which you loaded it as soon as you load the data in this one. You need to click on the refresh button and then expand tables here. You will find dim location now. Okay, look here, the dim location, you can see it now. Right click on it and then if they select top 1000 rows, you can find all the records that belong to this one. So we have created 3 tables by loading the Excel file data into this SQL Server database called Retail Data Warehousing. Okay, we are done. Next, we are going to go ahead with loading the data into a table. Okay, so what I will do is I will use a fresh Power BI desktop. This has got so many things, it literally slow down. I'm going to save this one. I'm going to open the Power BI, the Power Space BI Space Desktop. Okay, you can find this icon here and open. You click on open. Wait for some time. I'm going to use SQL Server connector from my Power BI desktop to connect to this SQL Server database. In order to connect to SQL Server Retail Data Warehouse from my Power BI desktop, I need to tell which SQL Server and which database, which table that I need to load it. I need to tell it very clearly. Now we have fresh report file got opened. So this is my welcome screen. This is not record. I'm going to click on the cross here. And here the get data icon is there. I'm going to click on this. You can see SQL Server connector here. Okay, import data from a SQL Server database. I'm going to hit this SQL Server icon. So here you need to specify the database. Okay, which database, which SQL server you need to connect. See, in the case of enterprises, they will have multiple SQL servers. Each SQL server itself, they have multiple databases, and each database they have multiple tables. We need to tell very clearly in which server, SQL Server database. For that simple way, right click on the connect here and click on the database engine. Just right click on. If you type it, there could be chances that you might tend to make mistake. This is my server name, SQL server name, and the database name you need to specify it. This is optional, like you can see optional. It is good if you specify the data warehouse name here itself. Otherwise, in the case of enterprises, they must be having hundreds of databases in a single server itself. So unnecessarily, it will open all the things, right? It will show the big list of data warehouses, sorry, databases. It will get confused. Fine. Okay, so you need to, this is optional, but anyhow, it is good, right? If you specify the database name, database name. In this case, the database name is retail data warehousing. Okay. There are two types of connectivity modes are there here. How many of you remember this? The last session we discussed about the two types of connectivity. One is the import mode and the other one is direct query mode. When I explained about database, I discussed this. Import, as the name suggests, it will load the SQL Server table data into your Power BI desktop itself. So please remember that. See, for the sake of illustration, I have installed the SQL Server on local laptop. But in the real world scenario, the SQL Server will not be available. SSMS will be there, but the server will be available on cloud. Okay, somewhere on cloud. So if you use import, what will happen is it will go and access the table data from the cloud, and then it will load it locally into your laptop or your desktop. It's kind of a downloading the data from cloud. Okay. So the default connectivity mode is import in the case of SQL Server database, even Oracle and other RDBMS software. You will find these two connectivity mode in general. Okay. So the import is the default connectivity mode. I'm going to hit OK. Now it will show the list of tables that are available under this database. As soon as you hit OK, but make sure that you are giving the database name, server name correctly and the database name also correctly. Okay. So that's what Vinodna I already explained. Okay, so that is not the good practice, loading the Excel data directly into database. Sorry, into Power BI desktop. From the data warehouse point of view, I'm saying, okay, usually the bigger enterprises, they access the data from the databases. So hence you need to, because security is not there. Anybody can hack your data, right? Like I said, if I know your password to your laptop, I can open your laptop in your absence and I can pick up the data file, right? So if you store the data inside a database, even though I have an access to your laptop, I cannot access your Excel file because the data is, you loaded the data into a database, right? And then you delete the Excel file. But I should know the SQL server name, database name, everything, okay? Look here, I'm going to select one by one, okay? So not a sales file. What I will do is I will select the customer dimension table and then location dimension table, okay? So these two tables, I wanted to import it, which means I want to load it. See, in this case, the number of records are less. Don't say, in our company or, in our environment, we have millions of customers. That we'll discuss it later, okay? So if we have smaller number of records, a lesser, moderate number of records, to select those tables. Let's assume that, right, usually the sales pack table will have huge volume of data. Hence, I did not select it. These two tables I selected it, and also by selecting the customer dimension table, you can see the preview window, right? So for the data belong to this one, you can see the data that are available in location dimension. The preview, you can see it here. Sales fact also I can select, but let's assume that sales fact is a huge volume of data, okay? So now hence I'm not selecting the sales fact table. I'm going to hit load button. What will happen when I use load button? When I hit the load button? So currently I connect to the SQL server using import mode, okay? So the data from my SQL server, assume that the SQL server is on cloud. So now it is establishing a connection to my cloud SQL server, Azure SQL server. It is called Azure SQL server, okay? Most of the time, the SQL server is installed in Microsoft Cloud. Azure SQL server, it connects to the Azure cloud. The SQL server, it pulls the data for these two tables and load it into my local Power BI desktop. You just imagine, if you want to watch a movie, the file size is 8 GB or 6 GB. To download it, how much time it will take? It takes a lot of time, right? That's why there is something called streaming concept came into picture. So as soon as the data get retrieved, the frames get retrieved from your video file, we can watch the movie, right? Look here on the right corner, top corner, you can see the two tables from your SQL server got loaded locally here. Okay. Interview, they'll ask you how to load the, even if they don't ask you, if you know, it is good, because clearing the interview is fine. End of the day, you need to work, isn't it? And if they are very first day of your job, right, when they ask you to load the data into the database, because the Excel file, if you have it, only you can use it, right? So other users cannot use it. The same data can be used by multiple people in the organization, or at least in your project. So in that case, the data should be in a centralized place. That's why we need to load the data from Excel into SQL Server. Okay. It is not mandatory, but that is the best practice. But there are certain reports, ad hoc reports, you can load it into Power BI desktop, you can create it yourself. Okay. But if somebody asks you how to load the data from the Excel file into SQL Server, you should be knowing. If you know that, that will be good. Look here, I have imported these two tables. When I expand this, I can see all the columns belong to this table. Next, if I want to view the data, I need to hit the data view, right? Wait for some time. You need to have a lot of patience. It will take some time to, even though the number of records are less, it takes longer time. So what you see is the customer dimension tables data here. You can see how much, 7 rows and 4 columns. And if you want to see the location dimension table, you need to click on this table. Whichever table data you want to see, first you need to select that table. Only then you can see that table's data on the left side. Dim location tables data, you can see it on the left side. At the bottom here, you can see the number of records. It's all very small number of records. Hence, import is more than sufficient. Okay. Next, what I will do is, I will click on the get data again. I'm going to use the SQL server. I just, yeah, this, I need to specify the SQL server name. It is already there in my clipboard. And here I'm going to specify, see here, I'm not going to specify the database name. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm going to select this time direct query mode. The default, in the interview, they'll ask you what is the default connectivity mode of SQL Server database? Import. See, there are some interviews, some remote job, right? Work from home kind of. I have seen it, right? My students, right? They forward that to me, and right, we did it for them. Okay. So in that case, what happened? They're asking these kind of questions. Okay. So what is the default connectivity mode for the SQL server? data connectivity mode. Okay, this is an import or direct query mode, live mode, something like that. So you need to choose the correct answer. Okay, because the online test, you need to complete, you need to score at least 70 to 75%. Only then they will call you for the second round. So all right, so direct query mode. This time is a direct query. I'm going to hit OK. I did not specify the database now. Now what will happen is it will show all the databases that are available in my SQL server. Look here, all the databases. I need to go and choose which database table, I want to say it, here the sales fact table. Already these two tables I loaded into my Power BI desktop using import mode. This time I'm going to select the sales fact table. But remember that in the previous screen, I have selected only direct query mode, okay? And if you see on the right side, all the columns, everything is okay, fine. I'm going to hit the load button. Since it is a direct connectivity mode, the data will not get loaded, only the table structure will get loaded. It's something like menu. You have an app, see the Swiggy app in your hand. It shows, each hotel's menu, but it doesn't show you the food itself, right? It's kind of a structure. So look here, the sales fact table got loaded here, and you can see the column names also. And if you want to see the data here, you'll have to go to the data view and select the sales fact. But here you cannot see the data. Like data wares, I explained you in the previous session how to use direct query mode. There are the same principle here also. The data lies in my SQL server itself. Don't think the SQL server is there in my laptop. In the real world, the SQL server database, then cloud somewhere, okay? You don't have to load the entire data because that table has petabytes volume of data in it. By the time you download, when you use import mistakenly, it literally slow down your system's performance. Not only your system, entire teams, all your team members, system will get hang, right? Because they will not be able to access it. Huge volume of data, it will download it, it will start down from the cloud. By the time it download all the data, it will take more than 1 month time. Hence, be smart, use the direct query mode, let the data be wherever it is there. I just load the metadata, which is nothing but the table name, column names, and the relationship. I will discuss that relationship later, okay? So what columns are there, what table, what is the table name? I loaded it. That's all. We are done, okay? And so the customer dimension and location dimension, I have loaded with import connectivity mode. Sales fact table, I loaded with direct query mode. In the case of direct query mode, you cannot see the data here because the data for the sales fact table was not loaded locally here. It is still there in your SQL server. You are going to remotely access the data, okay? So now what I'll do is I'll just switch to my report view. Oh, sorry, not the report view. I'll just switch to model view. Here I can see all the tables, right? So the sales fact table. Don't ask me what is model view. So this is where we define the relationship, everything. We'll discuss everything in detail one by one, okay? Step by step, we'll discuss. Look here, this is my customer dimension, this is my sales fact table. And you might notice, can you see that, right? The blue color line on top of the table. So that is your direct query mode. Not always we should give the direct query mode. We'll discuss one, wait. So this is your direct query mode, okay? I have used the direct query connectivity mode to load the sales fact table, which means only the table and the associated columns, not the data. Okay, so this one, location dimension, customer dimension, import mode, but with the blue colored on top of the table itself, we can make out by seeing that itself, you can say this is the import mode. So not the import mode, it's the direct query mode. And also if you hover the cursor somewhere here, on the right side, you will find the name, sales fact, storage mode, direct query, data source type is SQL Server database, all the things you can, that is called tooltip. The tooltip, you can see all the details. So look here, the storage mode was direct query mode. Right? With that, you can make out. But by looking at the color, the blue color line on top of the table itself, we can make out, hey, this is a direct query mode. And the next one is again, you can hover the cursor here. You'll get know what is the table name and storage mode import. When did you refresh the data? Look here, when I hover the cursor here, it is not showing the data refresh, right? Data refresh date. But in the case of import mode, it displays the data refreshed date also, date and time it shows. Got it? But in this case, it shows the server name, the database name, everything. But here, once you load the data locally, so why do you need to worry about the database name, all the things, right? Hence, it is not showing the database name and server name. Ideally, if this display here also, it is good. See, in the real world scenario, you'll be working with, probably we can suggest Microsoft, okay? Right? If they display, so because the places where we worked, right? A lot of databases are there, okay? So later point in time, they may for maintenance purpose or they may consolidate multiple single database. So that kind of situation, you will not be knowing, right? What is which database I took the table, all the things. Ideally, that displays, it's fine, fine. But at this moment, remember, in the case of import mode, the data get loaded locally, that's all. But whereas the data, in this case, it did not load locally. Only the structure is there. Table name, column name got loaded. This is called metadata. Okay, fine. Why we have used direct connectivity mode for the sales fact table? In general, the fact tables will have huge volume of data. It takes weeks or months time to load the data. And also, you know very well, when you download a big movie file like a 3 GB, 4 GB itself, it takes a lot of time. And on that, there is no assurance the entire file will get downloaded after 5 hours or 6 hours due to sudden blip in the net connection or something like that. It may break. You will not be able to import. Again, you need to restart importing that. And also, it requires a lot of network bandwidth, everything. Okay. Since what they did smartly, you use the direct query mode. Let the data be wherever it is there. Okay. So let the Power BI desktop can generate the query and then send the query to the data. Okay, send the data to it's something like, guys, see, you have a team of, see, I worked in multi-location teams. So the one team was sitting in Bangalore, other team was sitting in Pune, and we were working out of Chennai. Okay, and sometimes I worked out of Bangalore office. There are some locations are different, Pune and Kolkata also we had team. What happens in that case, right? Simple example is, simple analogy is, for example, instead of asking the 20 people from Bangalore location to Chennai location to come here to pick up to work on a project, better you guys stay there, right? So every day or every once in 2 days, we'll have a status call to know what you're doing. That is more than sufficient. Instead of asking the 20 people to shift to Chennai, what will happen? We will have to arrange the accommodation for them, food for them, right? It is a very expensive thing. Yeah, and also for them, it takes time and there are some limitations, right? So it is not, the wise moving the entire people to one place. So what we are doing is we just have the structure here. That's all. The data, let the data be there wherever it is there. Okay. And Power BI, what happens is Power BI desktop, it generates the query. Importantly, the Power Query data generates the query, or it generates the Power BI desktop set, right? Generates the query. Only that query will be sent to your remote SQL Server database. So let's say your query is, you have seen, right? See, look here. This query, if you store it in a file, what will be the size? What will be the size? From Power BI desktop, if you send the query to your SQL Server cloud, what you are sending? You are sending only this script. That's all. It will be the files. If you store it in a file, it will be just 1 KB or so, right? Less than 1 KB or 1 KB max. Sending 1 KB to the data where it resides takes very less time, rather than pulling the entire data to my laptop. First of all, I should have that much of storage space, isn't it? So best thing, you can use direct query mode in the case of huge volume of data. If the data are moderate, if the volume of the data are moderate, then you can go for import. Remember this, they'll ask in the interview. And the next one is, yeah, I just create the relationship here, but before that, I just go to the report view. So now we have learned how to connect to SQL Server from Power BI desktop using import as well as direct query mode, direct connectivity mode. Okay, fine. So the next one is there any way can I run a query against the database? Instead of pulling the tables locally, can I execute a query from my Power BI desktop so that the query can send to the SQL Server database and then let it get executed there? Okay. So here I just put it the same thing here. I'm going to use, for example, I'm going to use import mode. Okay. I'm going to write a SQL query now. Very simple SQL query. Plain English language, okay, SQL queries, click on the advanced options. Look here, if you click on this here icon here, it will get expanded. Here you can specify your SQL query. Okay, SQL query. For example, I'm going to say select L dot location name. You have multiple tab, you can see which location name, right? Yeah, location name. So what you do is L dot location. One second here, location space name is there, hence you need to use the square bracket. There is see, the column name has a space in it. Look here, if this, see, location name is the column name. If you don't have space between location and name, then you don't need the square bracket. But here in the table column name, we mentioned as location space name, hence you need to wrap it with square bracket. Okay. Otherwise, what will happen is the execution engine, right? It will read up to this. Afterwards, if it finds space, that means nothing is there. Okay. And then it will say there is no column by the name of location is available, throw an error. Okay. So hence, if you put it in a square bracket, it will understand, hey, after location, there is a space, but still some more things are there, right? I need to read it until the end of the next square bracket. Fine. Location name, comma, and I have the, what is that here? Sales amount column. For example, I just say sales amount column from my dim location table as L. Right? You understand? And then next one is you need to specify where L dot location key. Location key. In this case, the location key is a single word. There is no space, hence I don't need to use a square bracket. And yes dot location. I'll explain you what this one, but don't worry too much and don't panic. I'm writing so many things. See, this is a plain English language, very easy to understand. Even layman can understand. Look here, the select query, right? What I'm you doing here is location name is available in location dimension table. The sales amount is available in sales fact table. If you wanted to get the data from two different tables, you need to join those two tables together using where clause. First, you need to specify what are the columns that you needed, followed by the select. Hey, I need the sales. My manager wants to see each location, how much sales we made. Okay. And okay, column name is fine. What is the database name, table name? Right? Table from, followed by in the from clause, you need to specify the table names. The dim location, sales fact. What is ASL? It is short name, right? In some house, alias, they use the alias, right? Maybe a person name is Babu, Rajashekhar, Chandrasekhar, Reddy. But they use some Babu, short name, right? It's an alias, something like that. Followed, but this is a keyword, followed by the keyword, you need to specify. This you have to follow literally as it is, okay? But here you can use whatever the name that you want, short name, whatever you want it, you can specify it here. Similarly, sales by as well, yes. And here what I did, L dot location name. That means the dim location table, the location name column is there. And S dot sales amount in sales fact table, sales amount column is there. And then what I did, I just joined these two tables, with the common key. What is the common key between these two tables? Location key. Sorry, there is a typo here. Location key and location key. You might be asking this, and why should I use this one? If you wanted to query the data from two different tables, you need to join the two tables. That is the rule of them. Remember it, okay? In SQL or any RDBMS, okay? So how do I join that? You need to have common column between the two tables. If you don't have a common column, this query will not work. It will take, it will do some kind of Cartesian join, okay? So please remember at this moment, so in my case, right, I have two columns are available. I need to pull the data from two different columns from two different tables. In that case, I have to join the two tables based on the common key column. See whether, okay, one more question from, Sri Krishna. If the data are stored in a cloud, how do we know that? So, but end of the day, whether it's a cloud or inside your organization, some other server, right? So you know the database name, right? And you need to specify your cloud server name here. Instead of local host and all, right? You need to specify your cloud server name. That's all. It's something like, Azure dot, the retail dot data warehousing, something like that, .com, something will be there, okay? You need to specify your cloud database server name, and then the database name maybe right like this. That's all. All right. Once you specify it, that's it. The data will get loaded here. Same thing here. Okay. Don't think cloud is different. But the cloud, you need to load the data into cloud. That's a different thing. That we will see it later. Okay. So at this moment, you understand how to see. First of all, first understand the basic, because you are completely new to it. If you ask questions beyond this one, you are most welcome to ask, but you will get confused what I'm trying to explain this one. Okay, first focus on whatever I tell. You can ask questions later. Okay, as you understand everything, right? The basic things you can ask. The cloud, will see it later. There is a separate demo for cloud. We'll see it that time. Okay. So L dot location name sales amount. So, but whether it's a cloud or to answer to the point, right? To make it simple, if that table is available on cloud, how do I know that? But you need to load the table in your Power BI desktop. Otherwise, how will you know that, right? So in that case, you need to ask your customer, hey, give me your cloud Azure SQL Server name. They will share it. You need to specify the SQL Server name here, given by the customer, and database name. And obviously, right, the table name will get loaded here. Okay. That metadata or import connectivity, we can use all the things. Okay. Now we are discussing about SQL query not loading the table. Okay. Hence, don't worry. So here, this is important. Okay. Look, you need to join the two tables based on the common key here. That's all. Okay. You need to remember this. Okay. So for that, where can I, use the common key column, right? So in the where clause, you need to specify in the location dimension table, there is a location key, and sales fact table, I have location key column. So these are the two common key column. I need to join it for these in order to fetch the data from these two tables columns like this. Okay. Because the column names are not available in a single table. In real world scenario, multiple tables, you may have to pick up the column, multiple columns, right? Different columns or different tables you need to pick up. So that we'll see it later. Okay. To start with a simple example, I want to fire a query, but in this case, I need a location name, but location name is available only in dim location, and sales amount is available only in sales fact table. Okay. Don't think too much. Okay. At this moment. Okay. Fine. Because it's always good. I welcome, if you ask more questions, but let's go step by step. Otherwise, you will get distracted. You will forget, what I try to say. Got it? Are you able to understand this one? You need to know the table, which columns are available. Fine. But how do the SQL server know? You need to use a SQL query, right? The followed by SQL is select statement. You need to specify which all columns you needed from which table. L dot means dim location table. S dot means sales fact table. And here I have given the alias. Instead of L, I would have mentioned dim location here. You need to specify dim location dot location name, sales fact dot sales amount. You can use some alias. Okay. This is the best practice. We follow it in most of the projects. Okay. And L dot location will be fine. So I'm going to hit OK now. Let us see what happens. Now the two tables, data got joined. Location name came from location dimension table. Sales amount came from sales fact table. We can see the view, the data in the preview window. I'm going to hit load window. Let us see what happens. It is loading all the other tables, which is not required. So query 1, can you see that? It gives the default name as query 1 for the SQL query which I executed. Rest of the tables, right? We have already seen what is how to load customer dimension, location dimension, sales fact. Now we have seen how to execute a SQL query from the Power BI desktop. What column that I use is location name. And so look here, location name and sales amount column is available. And if I go to the data view, and if I select the query 1, I can see to this one. So if you think, right, I don't want to load all the tables. See here, in this case, sales fact table, the sales amount came from sales fact table, right? And the dim location table, I got this column. So in that case, by writing a single query, I'm able to get both the tables data here itself. Then why do I need to have these two tables? You don't have to load that two tables explicitly. Okay. If I delete, these two tables, right, sales fact, dim location, still the data will be, because what happened in these cases, so in this case, what happened, the power, even though it is an import connectivity mode, it will send the query to the SQL Server database, and the data, whatever the query's output will get pushed to your Power BI desktop here. Okay. And, okay. Fine. Wait, Monica, 1 second. I'll come back to that. Okay. So look here. I just go to the home ribbon and transform data. What is transform data here? Can all of you type it in the chat window? This is a Power Query data, right? Use the Power. I'm going to hit this one. I'm going to see the same thing in Power Query editor also. But for sales fact table, also I can see the data here. This is, you need to remember. So this is a, tricky question, the interview. They may ask a question something like, hey, I have a table. It's a fact table. I have loaded the fact table using direct query mode. Can I see the data in Power BI desktop? What you will say? You will say no, right? Correct. But can I see the data for the same sales fact table in my Power BI? Yes, you can see it here. Okay. Let's get back to our discussion related to query. Okay. Here I have executed the query, right? So that query, if you want to see the query again, you can see the drop down here. Click on this here. Later point, listen, if your manager asks you a question, hey, I want to see the query which you have executed, right, from the Power BI desktop. You can go to the Power Query Editor and click on the query 1 also. And then on top, you can see this one. Location name, sales amount from location dimension table, sales fact, location dot, L dot location is what? This is where we can see the query, right? Fine. You don't have to save it. It will get stored automatically. So here it shows, right, SQL database, SQL dot database. This is your SQL server name. This is the database name. This is the query. Use it. For this query, this is the result. I got it. Cool. You understood? Now you understood how to load a SQL query into, how to execute a SQL query from your Power BI. The same query you can execute it in the SQL server, right? So maybe Vinod now might be asking this question. So I can execute the same query here itself. Why should I go and execute it there? Right? Maybe others may also ask this question. Here, when you put some if and all, yeah, I just remove it here. Sometimes, while copy pasting it, these things will come if and all, right? So I'll just remove this one unnecessary things. Yeah, I'll share it. Don't worry. So if I execute the query here, okay, I just remove this one. I just execute the query here itself. Here itself, I'm getting an output. Why should I use? Because you're not going to create a report here. You are going to create a report here only, right? In the report canvas only, you are going to create a report. For example, you have something like a clustered column chart. You click on it, you get dropped here, this visual. And here, you just drop the location name and sales amount. If the query data is available, output of the data here itself, here it's available here only. How can you create report there, right? That data should be accessed from your Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop should have access to your SQL server. For that, you need to specify SQL server name, database name, table name, right? But instead of loading each and every table separately, is there any way, can I write a single query where I want to join multiple tables data? Yes, that is possible. So that is what I demonstrated. You can write a SQL query. What query I wrote it? This is the query I wrote it. Don't worry, I'll share the SQL query also to you all, okay? So this is the query I wrote it. So with this, I can see that. So if you don't specify the where clause, what will happen? It does the Cartesian join, right? It will double up my, you will find how many records, 736 records actually. So in this case, the number of records are less. You know very well, SalesFact has, oddly 92 records. The dim location has oddly 8 records. How come 730? It does something like this. The school time we studied, right? See, let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 1 set, and B, you have another data. You have 1, 2, 6, 5. What will happen is 1 will get, connect join, and this one will get joined with this one. This one will get joined. This one will get joined. And again, this one will get joined. This is called your Cartesian join. It takes a lot of time and it is not at all required. It is going to produce an undesired result. To avoid the Cartesian join, we are going to use the where clause. In the where clause, you need to specify the common column between the two tables. So in the dim location, we know very well there is something called key column called location key. And then the sales fact table, the same location key is available in the sales fact table. Both the tables should have the same column. Only then you can select more than one table's data in a single query. Any of guys, don't worry, I'm going to talk in detail in the SQL Server topic after completion of the Power BI. Okay, don't worry. Fine. So this query, instead of firing it here, I want to execute it here itself so that I can create the data will be available here. I can create a report here. For that purpose, I'm going to execute the query from the Power BI desktop. This is one option, okay? Not all the time you may have to load all the tables data, tables, each and every table you don't have to load. There are some times, right? You can use this query also, you can execute it from here. The output of the query gets stored here. So here query one, you can rename, double click on it, you can rename it, okay? And then you can create a report with this. And we will use the same query. Look here, I just go to the home ribbon and get data SQL Server. I'm going to, okay, I lost my server name. I just go to the connect and database engine. I just copy the server name and then I just paste it here. Retail data warehousing. I just give the database name directly here. I'm good in typing, okay? So this time I'm going to use the direct query mode. I'm going to expand the advanced options and I go back here and then I copy this query. And then this time I'm executing the query with the direct query mode, okay? Earlier we have seen how to use an import mode to load the data from SQL Server into my Power BI desktop itself. And also I have used direct query mode to load the metadata of my sales fact table into my Power BI desktop. And then I have shown you how to execute a query from Power BI desktop using import mode. Now we are going to see, can I execute a query with direct query mode? I'm going to hit OK and wait for some time. It opens the preview window. Good. I'm going to hit the load button. But the location key data is available locally, right? Dim location table, I have used the import mode, whereas the sales fact table, I use the direct query mode initially, right? But in this case, what I did for the entire query, I've used the direct query mode. Okay, this is the query that I used it. Okay, and the same query, but direct query mode, I used it. Still, it is working. I just click on file ribbon, close and reply. I'm going to close the Power Query Editor. But for the direct connectivity mode, you can, if you want to see the data, you can see it only in the Power Query Editor, not in the data view. Now the question is, you might be asking this one. Hey, you said in the direct query mode, the data will not get loaded locally. Yes, the same thing is applicable. Then why it is the data is visible in my Power Query Editor? What happens as the name suggests Power Query Editor, query, right? So what it does is, for example, if I select the query, this one, right? And on the right side, apply steps, here you will see the source, right click on it. And yeah, here, 1 second, I just see that. If you click on the wheel icon here, you'll find the service, everything is fine. Okay, and here, you see the data here, and query one also, you can see it here. Look here, this is the query. And if I go here, okay, in this case, what happened? This query has been sent to your SQL server. Okay, and then, so each time it will query the SQL server. You just think that way. Okay, I'll just show you in the report desktop so that you will be able to understand. Look here, I just go and minimize this. This is the one, right? The query one's data. See, this is the one. Query one's columns, I used it here. The location name came from query one, and sales amount also I used in query one. For the query one, I used the import mode. For query two, I have used direct query mode. So I'm going to create another visual. Here also, I just drag and drop this one, the location name and sales amount. What will happen is the moment when you drag and drop, it will send a query to your SQL server behind the scene. And then, so the moment you drag and drop, a query will be generated. That query's output will be sent to your SQL server. The output will be sent back to your visual in a matter. It's all happen in a matter of milliseconds. Okay, it's all happen because here you cannot see the data for query 2, right? But the same thing you can see it in your Power Query Editor, the data. What happens behind the scene? It sends a query to the SQL server, pick up the data and load it into your it shows the data from your thing, right? In the server, the SQL query, whatever you send it, behind the scene, the Power BI desktop send it. The output will be sent back to your Power Creator quickly. That is what is happening. Okay. And here, to check that one, so now the next question is, how do I know whether it is generating the query behind the scene for this, right? So when the moment when you drag and drop it, what happens is it generates the query and it sends the query directly to your SQL server. The output will be, sent once the query get executed there to your Power BI desktop report file automatically. It's all happening in a matter of seconds. To verify that, to justify that, I have some options are available. I'll demonstrate it, but it's too early to demonstrate so many things. But guys, remember, you should be knowing all the advanced concepts also, because right? In our case,